Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead. I got a request to make shepherd's pie. I haven't made it in quite some time, so why not? What you're going to need, and I'm going to admit right off the bat, I got a couple of pointers from Chef Ramsay. Although I'm not particularly fond of his entire recipe, I am going to borrow some of the points of it. You're going to need a pound of ground beef. Now this is our extra lean hay-fed local ground beef. You're going to need onions, potatoes, carrots, 2 eggs, and a can of corn or frozen corn if you like. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm going to peel some potatoes here, but I'm going to peel extra, and you may want to peel extra too, because I want to use leftover mashed potatoes for another recipe tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to sit down and peel a whole pot of potatoes here, and we'll be back when I'm getting everything else ready. Potatoes are on to boil, and I've peeled 2 nice big carrots. Now remember folks, if you have chickens, goats, pigs, a compost heap, your vegetable peels, not onion peels. Not onion peels if you're giving them to your livestock. But carrot peels and potato peels are just something wonderful. You mix in a couple of cups of oats with that and give that to your goats, or just give it plain to your rabbits with their pellets. Don't ever throw your fruit and vegetable peels away. They're very valuable. Anyway, now I'm just going to grate some carrot. This is another kind of sneaky nutrition thing. We're just going to grate it up because this is going to go right in with the meat. This was, thank you Chef Ramsay, this was his idea. Okay, there's our carrots. And I'm going to scrape that into the goat bucket. There we go. Now I'm going to dice up some onion. We'll be back when I've got this onion done because my eyes are starting to water. Alrighty folks, we've got our skillet nice and hot at between medium and high. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in there. We're going to put our ground beef in there. Oh, that might have been a little too hot. My ground beef's still frozen in the center. We're just going to get this started. You see our potatoes back there getting ready to boil. Let's turn this down just a wee bit. Cast iron, once you know how to cook with cast iron, it really is a joy. Cast iron retains its heat better than a normal fry pan, okay? A, you don't have to buy a whole bunch of fancy equipment. B, it lasts forever. And C, once you get it up to temperature, you can turn it down and it will retain a lot of its original temperature longer than a normal frying pan. So you're not always constantly readjusting the heat. Alright, let's get this browned up. Now what I've got here is some minced garlic, some of my homestead steak sauce. If you don't have steak sauce of your own, then you go ahead if you like and use some HB sauce or Heinz 57 sauce, or what do you call it down there folks? A1 sauce, that's right, you can use that. Now Chef Ramsay used lamb, but I don't I don't have any lamb, and I'll probably use goat or deer meat if Daddy is so fortunate, say a prayer folks, that we get a deer, because paying $6 a pound almost for hay-fed organic beef, and it's just ground beef, it's not steak or nothing, it's you know, it can get expensive. But there's some meals you just want red meat for. Okay, let's put a little, I don't know, half a tablespoon to a tablespoon of minced garlic. These used to come in glass jars. Now they're plastic. Some more ground pepper. Alrighty. Now that that's in there, we're going to put in our onions and our carrots. And we're just going to kind of let these all simmer together because carrots are sweet. Onions have a spicy flavor, yes, but they also go sweet when they're cooked. Alright, we'll be back when it is time to add the steak sauce. We'll add the steak sauce when some of the moisture has cooked out of the carrots and the onions. Alright, we'll be back then. Now our potatoes are almost cooked, and a lot of the moisture has cooked off from our meat and our veg. So I'm just going to give a good, I don't know, let's say a 1/4 cup. Now if you want to use canned gravy, or you want to, you know, mix yourself up some, a little bit of flour, a little bit of water, a little bit of bouillon powder, you go right ahead. But I don't want to add too much liquid to this, so I'm just giving it the old homestead steak sauce. And we're just going to let this cook a little bit longer. And while it does, we're going to mash our potatoes. And we'll be back when we'll meet you at the table to put this all together. Alrighty. Now, we have our potatoes, we have our meat, we have our eggs. Let's get our potatoes mashed, shall we? Let's put in a bit of butter. And you know what I got? The cream. Now normally I don't use cream, folks, but I just happen to have some in the fridge. That's just a little dab of half and half. Now my last job I worked at a restaurant doing food prep, and I'd say to my boss, one day I said to my boss, he had me mashing a huge vat of potatoes, and he said, and I said, why don't you use an electric mixer, like, you know, a hand beater? He said, do you have any idea how many of those I have gone through? Hand beaters break down, potato mashers never do. And you know what, folks? He's right. Oh, and while I was off camera, I forgot, I want to splash of Worcestershire sauce in my meat, because that carrot and onion is quite sweet. So we're going to say, 2-3 tablespoons maybe. Now, I'm going to tell you, if I had a cake decorator, because I used to decorate cakes years ago, just for fun, if I had a cake decorator, I would let these cool down a bit, and I would probably go ahead and put the potatoes in the cake decorator and make a really pretty top on the shepherd's pie. A little piece of carrot there on the shepherd's pie. But I don't, so I won't. But if you want to make a really pretty shepherd's pie, you go right ahead and put that in a cake decorator and put a flower tip on it or something pretty. And you take the time to really dazzle your family. And you know what's missing? Salt, pepper, and the secret ingredient, thank you, Chef Ramsay, some Parmesan cheese. Let's use the bigger hole. Woo! I'm going to say about 2 tablespoons. Alright, we'll just whip that in there. A little bit of pepper. Pinch of salt. That was a 2-finger pinch, by the way, folks. That was 2 fingers, not 1. Okay, let's set this aside and get our casserole dish ready. Now, I've just got a piece of wax paper here, and I'm going to butter it. Now, you know you don't need the extra fat, folks, but it does help it to come out of the pan oh so much easier. Alrighty. Let's get our bottom in there. Someone said they could tell I use cast iron frying pans for most of my life because I don't comment on how heavy they are when I lift them, because I really don't notice. Now there is our meat bottom with carrot. And here is my last can of home canned corn. And my corn did not do well this year, so until next year I buy no more corn. Because I won't. I will not do GMO. And pretty much all corn, unless it is labeled organic and heirloom, it's all GMO. Now we're just going to put our corn in there like that. And we're just going to, remember I said make extra potatoes? Well, I'm going to try and save half of these. We're just going to start dropping it on. You really don't want to spread your potatoes because then you're messing up your corn there. You know what I mean? So you just want to kind of plop it on there. Well, you know what? I may not have. Now I'm just going to push it in just like that. And that way we don't disturb the corn. We just put lots of potatoes on top. Give it another sprinkle of Parmesan cheese just on top. And we are going to bake this for 20 minutes in a 350-degree oven because it's already, everything in it except the corn is already hot. So you're pretty much just going to brown this and heat it through. So 325 degrees. In our oven for 15-20 minutes, and Papa should be home by the time this comes out of the oven. All right, we'll see you then. I got to clean up my mess. Now I've gone ahead and used my canning funnel, and I've put the leftover mashed potatoes in a jar, and they're going in the fridge for tomorrow night's supper. It worked out perfect. See all the nice little flecks of black pepper in there? It's just lovely. This is almost exactly right. It's about 2.5 cups of mashed potatoes, and that's what we're going to need for supper tomorrow night. And that's the only hint I'm giving you, other than it's not pierogies. We're not making pierogies. All right, we'll be back when supper's on the table. My, isn't that a beautiful shepherd's pie, folks? None of your funny business. Now what I did is I took this out of the oven and I actually let it sit on the table for about 10 minutes to hopefully so it will hold its shape. A little pie lifter, I don't know how well this is going to work because it's not deep enough. Oh, yummy. That's not going to do, is it? Hang on, let me get a spoon. There, how's that? Better. Still hot. No monkey business tonight. That actually means he likes it, folks.
Very good.
No gagging or anything. All right. This is the Mrs. Wolfe from our half-acre homestead saying, you know, sometimes the old standbys are the best. Take care.